Hi everyone, and welcome to this 4D Summit 2023. So after 5 years, I will say after 5 long years, so we are back. So I would like to thank you very much all for being here with us today. So just so you know, you are representing 18 different countries here all together. So thank you very much for being here with us. And then, yeah, you can do it again. Yeah, that's fine. And on the 4D side, we have also people coming from different countries. So we have people from Germany, France, Morocco, United States, Japan, and Australia as well. And we are all coming from different, various departments of 4D. So we have people from the engineering, from the quality assurance, product, sales, marketing, customer services, and professional services, right? And of course, we have also Laurent Ribardière, the founder and CTO of 4D, which will be with us, for these 2 days. So Laurent, you can stand up. And Laurent has never missed one summit since the creation of 4D. So great, well done, really well done. Okay, so we are, all excited to talk with you and, answer any question you may have during all the breaks. And it's going to be really easy to recognize us because we have all, the black shirt with the 4D logo, on the side. Okay, so now I think we are, a really busy agenda, so let's get things started. So I would like to invite on stage Mr. Thomas Moll, the Director of Strategy of 4D, to present the technical keynote. Are you on that side? Hi, Thomas.
Hello.
Okay, and Stefan Klein-Schäfer is the Sales Director of 4D Germany.
Hello.
Okay, so I'm just a bit surprised because, isn't it weird to have you on stage, because we are presenting the technical keynote here, not sales. Okay?
Technical.
Yeah.
All right.
With Thomas Moll.
That's why I'm here.
Okay.
Hopefully he will help me.
Okay, fair enough. So, good luck.
Thanks. I come with you. No. I will stay here. Yeah. Hello again. Nice to be here. Nice to be with you. My name again is Stefan Klein-Schäfer, and the slide was too fast. Yeah, I'm the sales director from 4D Germany, and together with Thomas Moll, you all know him. He's director of strategy for the product line, and he is the technical genius for this keynote.
Yeah, hi. It's a pleasure for me to be here and finally meet you again in person. And we are happy to host the technical keynote today, showing you the highlights and the latest 4D release.
Yeah, the technical keynote. Yeah. Okay, I will do my very best and with your help. When Thomas asked me to do this keynote together with him, I felt very honored because, wow, it's a keynote for the summit. Then I saw this list of features, and now I know this is a technical keynote, so it makes it not very easy at all. And when I take a first look at this long list, I get in panic because it's a lot of stuff.
We have so many new features in V20, but we can talk about this for hours, even for days. And the list just won't end. So the major job for Stefan and me was to select the highlights, to reduce this huge list to something which fits in a 90 minutes keynote.
I would like the audience something. How long have you been with 4D? More than 20 years? 30. Hands up. 30. Okay.
Oh.
35. Okay. Have you ever seen such a long list of features? No, not really, no? Thanks. Right answer. Okay, and this is what Thomas means. Our job was to reduce, not to reduce, to find the highlights of all these great features and bring it to you, bring the benefits to you. So let's start with the major part of 4D. And that very easy part, I think, for me. Huh?
As a sales guy, you want to start with language.
Yeah.
Okay, enjoy. Let's go.
In Deutsch.
In Deutsch.
No, in English. No panic. Let us start with an evolution in which the 4D language evolved. The language was being drastically modernized for years, starting with the dot notation, with the object orientation, with adding more or many requirements such as return and break, literals, or operators. Because it is compatible, you can still run code that is more than 30 years old. You can write code that maybe looks a little bit strange for someone who has not followed the few years of the 4D evolution. But, okay, Thomas, you are right, it's more technical.
Yeah, let's start coding. We added compound assignment operators. It's always plus, equal, multiply, equal. Yeah, here we have the example how it was written before. A star equal, with this name compound assignment operator. We have added short circuit evaluation with double and or double or. We added keywords like return, break, and continue. These are just some examples how we extended the language. It makes look tiny. It helps you to make the coding easier and faster. But the most important thing is it makes it easier for you to find new developers coming from other languages, such as C++ or JavaScript, to learn 4D. It makes it easier for you to hire new developers. Objects became more and more important in the last years. And object literals makes the definition much easier. But the fun starts when we combine all that together. And here we have created an example if you combine that by calling a method. This allows you to pass parameters in any order, and any of them could be optional when used as a parameter for a method call. So let's start. The first two lines shows how a method could be called with different orders and different optionals. And then below we have an example for a method. The first line uses the new declare keyword, allowing you to stop using $1, $2, $3 or similar to name a parameter. You can now use names, which makes the reading much easier. And below we have 3 examples how we could now respond to optional parameters. Using the var keyword, we declare a new variable, local variable, define the type text, define directly or assign directly a value. The string command is now, I think, 30 years old. String command was used to set a type or to change a type, to change from num to string or stuff like that. Since a while, you can use string for a string and then nothing happens. But if you use string on an undefined value, you get an empty string. So this is a simple change, but makes it very, very easy to have now a defined optional parameter, if it is the value or it is empty. Just the way how we combine that. The second example is showing the ternary operator. So you need to read that as we assign something to dollar from, depending on a condition. And if that condition is null, meaning it is not passed, we use today as the default value, or we use the pass value. So a ternary operator is a very easy way to change the content depending on the value. And the last example, this introduces the concepts of falsy and truthy. Falsy and truthy. Sounds really funny. So I'm not talking about true and false. This is not a translation thing. This is not a German pronouncing. Falsy and truthy. In short, truthy means something and falsy means nothing. So what is nothing? Undefined, null, empty object, an empty array, even an empty date. We see that as falsy. So this is nothing usable. And now if we combine that with the short circuit evaluation I talked before, we can write really efficient code. And you can read that last line we assign to $till. If this parameter is something, we use it. And if it's nothing, we use current date plus 1, meaning tomorrow. So that simple line says, if something useful was passed, use it. Else, use the default value. This allows us to write really efficient code. And many of the changes we introduced in the last versions, if you look on that alone, you say it's not a big thing. But if you combine that together, it could be a very different way to code. Next slide, please. We also rewrote parts of the 4D language, from structured commands to classes. Classes like files and folders, HTTP requests, system workers, and many more. And we had many reasons to do this. Internally, we can use the latest system APIs without having to remain compatible with the old commands. So the old commands behave as before, but our new ones are now based on the newest technology. And by using classes, we avoid to add 30 commands just to handle all the typical thing, like move document, copy document, delete document, test path name. We had so many commands to work with just with files or with folders. And by using classes, it is so much easier to learn and to find them. You just type, by example, $f dot, and the method editor automatically use type ahead and shows you what possible commands you could use or what properties you could use. No need to learn them. So easier to learn, easier to use, easier to maintain. And finally, when a class instance is no longer existing, when the method ends and you forgot to close it, or by example, you run into a trace, open the debugger, and click on stop. In the old ways, the file was still open, and you always had to fight with file is open, you cannot write into. Here, 4D automatically detect that you have a lost instance, not used any longer, and closes the file, which makes maintaining so much easier.
And we have a masterclass about this by the often copied but never reached Mr. Keskimiaku. Where is he? There. Okay? So he made this masterclass. I'm pretty sure there is also a French copy of this. I have no idea who is doing this, but...
We cannot pronounce the name anyway.
Yeah,
so.
take a look at the agenda. You will find it there. Back to you.
That's me. Back to classes. Classes have been extended with Orda to build the Orda data model. A table was always a class with Orda. But now you can add your own functions. By example, credit invoice, that knows how to do that job. You can add computed attributes, which are a little bit similar as a calculated fields in other tools, but just much more powerful.
Thomas, let me jump in here. Maybe I can explain this as a sales guy. I hope you have seen these blog posts. This is a great example and shows us the power of Orda based on a genealogy database. By selecting a person, multiple list box popped up and showing the parents, the grandparents, the uncles, the whole family, whatever. Yeah? They are updated automatically without a single line of code, and is super fast. This is my favorite example to show the power of Orda and why you should learn it. Not because it is just a cool language and helps with coding. It is the integration of forms in the user interface that allows you to build forms that are impossible without it. So if you missed it, go on blog.4d.com, bless you, and download. I think there are 4 parts about this genealogy database. In the blog about the Orda data model, this demo is used to show the computed attributes. Age is a nice example. Okay, who is storing the age in his database as a field? Yeah, very good. It was that's a question. You will all store the birthday, right? And you will calculate the age. This is how it should work. And if you want to display the age, you calculate it. Right. You calculate it as a formula, maybe. Then you cannot sort on it, and you cannot search on it. But look at the screen. You see there is a symbol where you can sort on that. This works because there is a getter for the age that does a simple calculation. Now imagine you have thousands or millions of records doing the sort by the formula. The calculation and the formula were very small, very single record, and it will be very slow here. All the records have to be sent to the client, and the index cannot be used, and so on. Now, you could say, that's just another way to code. We don't change really the game. Using a data model builds a different layer, the database, the data model, the data interface. It avoids that there's a code everywhere in your interface, such as calculation for elements. It makes the code easier to write, easier to read, and finally, you can build automatic testing. And it provides the same functionality, the same calculation in different front ends for the forms or for the mobile. Yeah, everything when using the REST server. And of course, you will see it later also for Codely. To you.
We introduced Orda 5 years ago. And there are still some developers who believe that when we talk about Orda, we would talk about a language. And that's not the case. Orda allows you to build user interfaces, especially list boxes, without any code, without spreading business logic all over the UI. In trainings, it is always fun to see how long-time developers are confused that there is almost no code needed to create complex dialogues, as we just saw in the previous slide. With Order classes and Order computed attributes, this has evolved even further. It drastically changed the way you code, how you design desktop forms with Foddy, how you create mobile applications, and most important, as we see later today, how you create web applications. If you haven't started yet, now it's the time. We have published many blog posts and several introduction blogs to help you to get started. And we have several on-demand online training classes to explore.
And we have a masterclass about this, or a part of this, part, by Olivier and Beranger.
And the fun thing about that class, you might think it's about Order because it says .query.
Yeah.
Nope. You might think it's about query. No, we're talking all the day about query, but it's not about query. You might think it's about text parsing because we parse a text to do the query. No. Real thing, it's about classes. It's about how to use classes in a big application over years. About how to build an application which you enhance over the next years step by step with new functionality without getting what we name in Germany spaghetti code, but I think this is clear everywhere. How to get a complete mess in your code, how to get clean code over years. And this is what makes this class so special. So enough for advertisement, next.
Yeah, Beranger, Olivier, you have to pay him the dinner, whatever. Yeah?
Dinner tonight.
Yeah, they are there. So.
Yeah.
You will do it in French and in English,
we have
right?
a hard, we need to do it twice.
Okay, so.
It's again me. No.
No, it's me. Let's talk.
Code editor, yeah, sure.
Let's talk about the code editor. Yeah, because the code editor is so important for all of you, all the developers. It is also important for our developers at 4D. So no Keynote, no new feature release without any feature for the code editor. And we have some in a new. The code editor has been improved to support all these new features, like type ahead. It is automatically suggest the correct property list and even type in commands for selecting property. And just in case you missed it, yes, V20 supports the property typing, which approved the type ahead and allows to compile to reject incorrect type assignments. As you can see now, we have much more. We have to quickly jump to different functions of a class. The comment tags, the object syntax check, the code editor customization. If you don't like the 4D, the colors we bring, you can change it in pink, whatever you are, like the great V20 pink. and simplifies the navigation between the code, the documentation, and also the Explorer. As you can see, the 4D Code Editor was already a very clever tool, and we've improved it. Or should we say, we adapted to the new possibilities.
Wow. Yeah. The 4D Code Editor has been drastically enhanced in the last years. And on top of that, yeah.
You need a clicker.
No, one too much. This is a problem with a sales guy.
Okay. It is so
great. So 4D V20 allows you to use Microsoft Visual Studio Code as an external code editor, additionally to the built-in. You may ask now, why not use the built-in editor? And the reason is simple. Microsoft Visual Studio Code is the most widely used code editor in the world, available on all platforms, Mac, Windows, Linux. And as you can see behind me, the 4D language is fully supported with coloring, type ahead, intention, even syntax checking. And the reason? Again, when you hire new developers, about 75% of the developers in the world have used Microsoft Visual Studio before. So we can get up and running quickly. We don't need to have to learn a new environment. And by the way, it is called Visual Code, not Visual Form. So don't ask how to modify forms. Use the 4D Form editor for that. Visual Code is great for code. For 4D code, for JavaScript, for C++, for XML, for HTML, anything text-based.
And there's no masterclass.
No.
Okay. Very cool. Just as important as the code editor is, the list box. No Keynote without list box. And yes, I have a highlight for you. The highlight is that we now offer automatically row highs. Yeah, okay. You all know this, the entity selection and for collection-based list boxes. Yes, automatically row high was already available for array-based list box, allowing them to automatically adapt to the high of each row on its content. It's very important for me as a salesperson that I'm using a 4D application every day. It makes it a game changer because you can read all the information. But the important thing for the list box is it is an out-of-the-box tool. You just drag and drop it into your form and you can use it. You can use it in your form and you can manage and change it by your code. So you have to, if you don't take a look at the list box, do it. Thank you.
One.
You understand it. The highlight is, the highlight was. As you have seen, with V20 we deliver a lot of tools for you, for the developing and for the features around coding. But we have not forgotten the simply modernization. Modernization that will keep your application running on Mac and Windows for the next years. One example is we have now have high DPI on Windows. High DPI stands for high dots per inch. Take a look at this image, or at this example. As you can see, the fonts and icons are a little fuzzy in the background and very sharp when at a 4K screen. Sorry, but for the developers, you have to do something. It's not for free. You need to create, you or a designer needs to create a set of better resolution icons and save them into your resource folder. 4D will automatically use them, the correct icon, when needed. The same goes for the dark mode. But I'm a sales guy, so I have also a good news. The fonts are free.
High DPI on Windows.
Yep.
And what's about with Mac users?
Laurent?
So he missed the Keynote 2020.
Yeah, I was not here.
Supposed to be in that room, so let me cover one thing. we did it in before. So Mac is already handled. We now added also Windows. And maybe to explain it a little bit more, so in a modern way to use 4D, you don't copy and paste pictures inside a form. You paste a reference. You have your picture in the resource folder, and you just drag and drop it in a form. And 4D only uses a reference, not a copy of a picture. So if a reference is print_32, and you add in the same position a second file with add2 behind the name, 4D automatically detects if a used monitor, if a used screen, it's a Retina screen on Mac or high definition screen on Windows, it automatically uses the higher resolution picture. Nothing to change in your code. And if you're on Mac and you're running in dark mode, and if there's a picture with _dark in the folder, it automatically switches to that picture. And again, the same for high definition. So nothing really to do. Quite easy to handle. Continuing with system features, starting with 4DB20, when using the system rendering engine, meaning the web browser and not with embedded one, but with a system browser, on Windows, 4D uses Microsoft Edge, which is the marketing name, technically WebView 2. And this change allows you to benefit from a modern browser with the latest features and security updates. Just to give a practical example, Microsoft Edge or WebView 2 can be used to display PDF.
What about Mac?
Again, V19. So we replaced the engine already in V19.
Okay. Is there a PDF topic for the preview? Do you use XPS or PDF for the print preview?
I was a Mac guy.
But you're asking for Windows?
Yeah.
Okay. You're not the right candidate. Because with almost all current versions of Windows coming with an XPS or PDF pre-installed, and the end users have no longer any problems with the print preview. This new option provides a more flexible solution to meet the needs of the users and administrators.
Okay, in a more technical way, in the past, Microsoft shipped Windows 8 and Windows 10 with an XPS viewer. When they switched and removed the XPS viewer, but they added Microsoft Print to PDF, and XPS was not working anymore, and everybody was calling your tech support team and complaining. So we solve it now by, we check up front if there's Microsoft Print to PDF installed. If yes, if there's also WebView 2 installed, and if yes, we automatically use PDF for preview. Else, we check if XPS printer is installed and XPS viewer is installed, and when we use XPS, automatically, nothing to do. And in both are missing, we display this message. So the admin knows what's happening. And our sales guy had made a long list for technical code.
Well, I understand it. If nothing is installed, we have a falsie.
Yeah. So coming back to the code, you can code it if you want, but I really normally don't see a reason. So it's a very easy to use command.
Okay, thanks, Thomas. Just as important as developing, you all know this, is the building and deploying the final or your final 4D application. So let's talk about the building. In V20, we have a huge amount of options to fine-tune the behavior of 4D. Let's take a local resource folder, you can see it here, as an example. Normally, each user has its own copy, which works very fine in the most standard scenarios. In large terminal server installation, especially with server farms with hundreds of users, it is a waste of disk space and server load. So, V20, so we have the setting to switch from separate resources to shared resources. It's great, right? Okay, thanks.
Nobody using terminals.
Yeah, I think so. The same applies without a terminal server. You might have several clients on the same computer connecting to different servers. Now it sounds a little bit like Thomas' false and truthy thing. On different servers, you want to those clients to remember. I have to read this because it's very strange. Where they're last connected, or you want multiple clients to connect to the same server, or you sell an application as software as a service, and your own cloud has to need to know where to control the connection process yourself. There are lots of needs, and build process allows you to control them. Okay, I stop here, far too many to explain. We have again Mr. Keske Miyako, who have a great masterclass about this in English. There must be a French copy. Please take a look in your agenda and you will see it. Click.
And if you mastered all with many options we offer, normally build application handles all of it for you. So you just use build application and it does the building. But some developers, especially the larger editors, prefer to have more control over the build process itself. So we added many commands in the last versions to allow you to do everything yourself, to replace the build application job. But on top of that, we started to create a component called Build for D, which shows you how to do it. We started with building components, then standalone applications, and we will soon release a version of the component allowing to create client and server applications. And of course, the component is on GitHub with source code, so you can modify it as you need. So you can create your own build chain, adapt it to your team, your work process, and any of your own needs.
And we have a tool for this, to specialize for the build process and everything around. It is named Tool for D. And the story about command line interface, automatic build loads, continuous integration, and continuous delivery. And powering of a lot of opportunities. I'm the master of the master classes. We have a master class about this by Abdelhafid and Omar. I saw this session already in Atlanta and it was great. So please do not miss this master class.
And I know the French-speaking guys were named Abdelhafid and Omar.
Really?
Yeah.
Well pronounced.
We also need to do it twice.
Yes. Are they in the room? Over there. There. Sorry. Networking. The 40 Summit is also for me, and I think for all of you, a networking event. For your social feelings.
Sales guy on stage.
Yes.
This is the technical keynote.
Oh, not social?
No.
No social
Just
feelings?
technically. Talk about a technical network.
Okay, sure. I would try it. Since 10 years, I'm talking about new network protocols.
Stop it.
Okay.
Let's give me a try. So we talked about a long time, 10 years, about something named new network layer.
It was all younger.
And our internal name was always ServerNet. Was honestly a big marketing mistake, his fault, always new network layer. So the layer is now final. It's production ready. And every use case better than the old one. So it's finally time now to stop saying new network layer. Let's name it ServerNet. ServerNet is designed to run preemptive, using all available cores of a server. This is important to scale, to allow for the server to handle thousands of connections. Reminder, with the old legacy layer, all go through a single cooperative core. And besides, it supports new features. By example, sleep mode. Just close your notebook, travel home, reopen, and continue to work. And it supports single sign-on with Microsoft Active Directory. So ServerNet is the default layer in v20. And we strongly recommend to use it in v19.6 or newer. It's a big change. And now, after talking about the ServerNet, we could talk about a new network layer, where we start with a name immediately, Quick.
The new.
No, Quick. The internet was built around TCP. So when we start talking internet in the 80s, it was TCP, or 90s, most of us. TCP was supposed to handle all kinds of network problems, such as lost packets, packets in the wrong order, corrupted packets, and so on. Fully transparent for an application. So only good data would arrive. And that's what you, your customer, and we expected. And as you all know, it never worked like that. It just say null point error. I think the most hated message. And it's not just the 4D world, it's everywhere. And Google has been working on a solution for many years now. And they called it Quick. And the main goal from Quick was stability, followed by security, followed by speed. Quick stands for Quick UDP Internet Connections. So using Quick means no TCP any longer. Quick was standardized in 2021. And most of you, all of you, are already using it on a daily basis. You are using it as HTTP free. As of today, more than 75% of the worldwide internet traffic is using Quick, as all Google traffic, including YouTube and Gmail, and all Facebook traffic, including Instagram and all the others, are already based on Quick. Even Microsoft is using it in Microsoft Windows Server 2023 data center for SMB over Quick to get more reliable connections in home office. Sounds familiar? Same problem. We are working on it for a while now, and we have a first developer preview in V20. With V20 R2, it is ready for internal testing, while it is not feature complete yet. By example, sleep mode or auto update are still missing. We are adding more features with R3 and hope to replace ServerNet already with V21, using Quick in the future for a fast, secure, and reliable network, running for the client over internet, campus network, drains, and so on.
Yeah, you get some applause. Wow.
Technical session.
Yeah, I think fantastic. It's hard for me now. But with V20, we also have several new features around the web. But let's have a look in the history of 4D and the web. We started with a web server in 1996. Most of you will remember. Then we delivered the web service server. Many frameworks used by our developers like React and Angular. Then we announced the preemptive and scalable session management. It was the boost. Followed by the REST server. And now, there's something new. We have the WebSocket server. And because this is a technical thing, Thomas?
So everything in the web is normally a pull service. The client requests data from a server. And a WebSocket server turns that now around. The server can start to push data to the client. It's the opposite. And that's really great for live data. For example, a chart showing current values. And it's very efficient, so great for Internet of Things. 40v20 includes a built-in WebSocket server. And by the way, this is included in the web server license. And this opens up a world of possibilities for real-time data visualization, IoT applications, anything that require instant updates. And starting with V20 R2, we also added a WebSocket client, allowing 4D to talk to other WebSocket servers.
Okay, I understand a technical thing, but you say you don't need a license when you have a web server.
Included is a nice word for a sales guy.
Eric, we have to talk about this. I'm missing revenue for this. No, okay, just kidding. Yeah, but there's even more. You'll notice we have 40 for mobile. And there's something new. 40 for mobile is a stack of features, not just a product. We have, you can see it here, we have the wizard where you can just create modern mobile interface. We have the 40 REST server to receive and send the data. We use the synchronization function within 40 server to keep the track of new, modified, or delete data and allow the incremental synchronization. We have written a library for iPhone and Android, Kotlin and Swift. We handle the synchronization between 4D and the mobile device. The library allows mobile developers who know nothing about 4D to connect and create the mobile application for 4D. And because Now this library is open source. They can see how it works and even improve it if they wish or need. So when we are talking now about 44 Mobile, we are not talking about a product. We are talking about a stack of technology. And each of you can pick and choose the features you need because it is open source. Okay, and now the story continues. REST and mobile, 44 Mobile, just have been the door opener for something maybe you have already heard about this. Quadly Studio. Because I'm not a technical guy, please welcome me, Mr. Mathieu Ferry, product team leader at 40. He will show you and explain you the newest technology.
Voilà. That thing works? Okay. So thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Stefan. Hello, everyone. At last, it's finally the moment today we can share with all of you what kind of impressive product Kotlin Studio for 4D is. Just before starting, what you are about to see in a few seconds is available in developer preview since early September with 4D V20 R2, which has been shipped as a final release a few days ago. But let's not wait any longer and deep dive into what your 4D application could look like once you start to use Kotlin Studio for 4D. So, let's see how fast it is to create a web application with Kotlin Studio. In my application here, I have a customer data class, and I want to display its content in a web browser. So I go to Design, Kotlin Studio in the menu of 4D, and I quickly create a web form that I call Summit 2023, because it's today. In this web form, I will use a data table that I can find, for example, in the templates library. I just drag and drop it on my canvas. A data table is very similar to a 4D list box. So when you are using Orda, you are used to work with data sources and entity selections. To display a list box, you build an entity selection as a variable and assign it as a source. Here, it's the same, but we name it data source. So I create a customer's data source. The type is entity selection. The data class is customer. The initial value is all, so that the entity selection will receive all entities from the table. And this data source, I take it and drop it on my data table. As simple as that. Exactly like for a list box. I have 3 columns, and I will bind them to my data class fields. Just behind me, the first name, the last name, it's already OK. And the email, here I bind it as well, with type ahead. I save, I preview, and it just works. Wait a little bit with other things. So it's as simple as building a list box. It works for the web, and you just saw there's an infinite scrolling on it. So let's go back to edition. Now I want to search. So I already have in my code a search by name function in 4D, because this is 4D, on the data class customer. You see it, this function takes a parameter of type text, and it returns an entity selection of customer entities. Calling 4D functions is very easy with Kotlin Studio. Using 4D form, you would create a text input and use a text variable, pass that to the function, and assign the result to the listbox data source. And you're going to see that with Kotlin Studio, you can do that for the web in a very simple way. So let's use an input text component and drop it on the canvas, on the top of the data table. And this input component needs a data source of type string that I call search. Like earlier, I will take this data source and drop it on my input component. You can see this data source as the variable you will declare in 4D. I spend a few seconds to set up a placeholder. And now I will set up an onChange event. This event will be triggered each time the input field value changes. I bind the search by name function on it, on this event. The input parameter is my search data source that will receive the user inputs. And the return value is my data source, my customer's data source, the one that I bound to the data table earlier. I just save now. Sorry. On the right side, you have a code preview of the function you selected, just for you, to ease your work. Now I save. I preview, and I can search. I will search my name, just for the beauty of it. And now I want to preview it in a new tab, like a real application. I just use the Render in a new tab button. And I'm in a new tab here. I can search my name, just to test it, or Thomas' name. Works the same. So what you just saw is just a sneak preview of how fast you can build a web application with 4D and Codely Studio for 4D. So, Codely Studio is not a third-party product. It is fully integrated into the 4D you know. You can even choose to run web forms in parallel of your 4D desktop forms for the very same application. We offer effortless web form design with a quick access to main styling settings and full support of CSS. Templates and copy-paste are also available to inspire you and make your work faster. As you saw it, the real-time preview with data drastically speeds up your development workflow. What you see is what you get. You may have noticed how fast and easy it is to map data sources and user events in your app. Instead of coding, you're just a few clicks away from having real interactive web forms. And security is also on board with a very powerful permissions editor. Okay, so as this is all about developing web applications, let's see what your 4D application could look like in a web browser. So, Codely Studio is not about just creating simple apps. Here, a first example with a complete timesheet app. See the dynamic CSS on-over effect on the upper panels. Notice that you can filter the week declarations by clicking on those panels. You can also switch from a week to another, hide the panels, return to the current week. Of course, you can declare your times by selecting an activity, the time spent, place a comment, hello, submit again, and pick a date with a date picker. Of course, the data can be modified, and the modifications are automatically reflected in the data table behind. And you can delete records, of course. But UI and UX can be totally different thanks to CSS. Here, it's a dark data table and a nice calendar obtained with the matrix component. We'll talk a lot about the matrix component today. And last but not least, you can easily obtain responsive designs where the layout fits to the dimensions of the browser window. It's freaking crazy, that part. I love it. Okay. Now, let's go for a second example. This is a back office application for a car rental firm where agents can handle their daily tasks and book cars. I have a first screen here that shows the tasks of the day for an agency. The booking list on the left is obtained with a matrix component. Once again, the same than for the calendar earlier. It's very versatile. And on the right side, you can see the selected booking details with a feature allowing to select another vehicle for the booking. But in terms of user experience, with Codely Studio, the choice is yours. The same use case can be handled with this single-page list. Clicking on a booking reveals the booking details form, and a back button allows you to go back to the list. And this list is also a matrix component, once again. Okay, let's start the funny part, and let's book a car. Remember, this is how your 4D app could look like if you use Codely Studio. Booking a car requires a lot of information from the user, so I decided to divide it into 7 steps. The first step is the selection of the departure agency with a search box and a filter on the agency type so I can be sure to select an airport. Pay attention to the nice button effect obtained with a custom CSS. The second step is the selection of the arrival agency. Here I can also refine my search and select the downtown agency in Nice. The step number 3, here I select a departure and an arrival date with the date pickers available as standard in Codely Studio. And the step number 4, the application shows me all available vehicles at the desired dates. This is my preferred part. This list is obtained, once again, with a matrix component. And you can see that you can obtain very nice layout when you use that kind of visuals here. Next. Let's continue and select options. On the left side, once again, a matrix component showing an entity selection of available options. And on the right side, another matrix, but this time with 2 columns. And it's for the selected options card. Note that the UI is very dynamic. The total price updates automatically. You can clear the option card with another nice red button. It's also CSS. And you can also filter options by name or by category. So here I can search for sun. Oh, there's nothing. Or you can search for snow shovels. Okay, I select everything. The next step is very simple. You will recognize it. It's a selection of customers with a search box. We did that earlier. And this is the final step. It's the booking summary. I can review here the booking entity that I've been building all along this transaction. The entity is not saved yet. It will be saved as soon as I click on the confirmation button with a different CSS effect here. Okay, now the save is done. The booking is now in the database, and I'm ready to start a new booking. That's it. So, impressive, right? But this is not the end of the story today. What you just saw runs on 4D, runs with 4D. But we are not only introducing Codely Studio for 4D today. Codely.com is 4D's brand new hybrid low-code cloud offer. The beta is open since early September. But before going further, keep in mind that with Codely.com, you get a fully hosted environment. With Codely.com, development is in the cloud, but also deployment and maintenance. You don't have to install or set up anything. Neither you nor your customers. Hardware, operating system, software, everything is done for you. What you get is the complete infrastructure and a set of tools to manage it. And all you need is a web browser to develop, deploy, and maintain your application. So let's start our Codely.com tour. As I just said, if there's one thing you have to remember when leaving this room, it's that choosing Codely.com means you have nothing to install, nothing to set up, nothing to configure, neither software, neither hardware. Everything is done for you. Just click and you're ready to go. So what you have in front of you is your main Codely.com page once you are registered. We call it the dashboard. You have 3 sections. The first one is for your sandbox. I'll describe that in a few seconds. The second one is for your own applications. I mean, the one that you created as a developer. And the last one are shared applications. So these are applications that someone chose to share with you for you to collaborate as a developer. Let's go back to Sandbox. As I already told you, with Codely.com, all your work is done in the cloud, especially development. And sandboxes are a great way to discover how development can be done in the cloud, and they are free of charge. I create here a new sandbox. You get several templates. You can start with a blank app from scratch, or you can start with one of the demos offered by the platform. Here you have demos about matrix and data table, about application navigation, about weather and how to query an HTTP API. This is this one. And we have a lot more demos to come. I will select here the matrix and data table demo just for the example. And once I've done it, all I have to do is wait a few seconds during which my application will be created for me. That's it. My application is now ready. I can click on it to see what's inside. I see that I have one development environment, but I don't wait, and I directly open Codely Studio. I skip the welcome tour. I will let you do it on your own. I'm now ready to develop in the cloud and to modify this demo app. For example, here I take the home web form that I can edit by adding a text area. Hello Summit 2023. I was very creative when doing this. I quickly save, and I preview, and that's it. I'm now using the demo as a user. I can generate data. I can visualize items from the database. And remember that to reach this result, I installed nothing on my computer. Of course, as everything is done in your web browser, you have a code editor and a debugger that allow you to write code in Codely script, which is a language inspired by both 4D and JavaScript. You will also use your web browser to edit your model with the model editor. So here, I want to add a owner data class with a name attribute. So as simple as that, it's of type string. And I want all my items to have a owner. So I add a relation owner on the item, sorry, pointing to a owner entity, owner. Okay. You see, it's very simple. Okay, I'm done with development. I won't go further, and I will go back to the dashboard. Okay. I'm happy with this sandbox and the way I modified it, and this is now the opportunity to show you deployment and maintenance features. When using Codely.com, you can start an app from scratch, of course. But if you already have an existing application and you want to use it for a new customer of yours, you can clone this existing app. So this is what I am about to do here by cloning my sandbox, by cloning the modifications I have just done. Creating an app with Codely only requires a few steps. Of course, I had here to blur our plans and pricing until they are revealed to the public. I just fill the few steps, I subscribe, and that's it. Once again, everything is getting prepared for you. You don't have anything to do but to click. My new app is now ready with a clone of what I modified in my sandbox earlier. Let's open it and see what Codely has to offer regarding deployment and maintenance. Each Codely application comes with 3 environments: development, staging, and production. One of the first things you have to deal with regarding an application is its versioning. So the good news is that Codely apps come with version management out of the box. I show you here how to create a release. So in my development environment, I create a release. I name it 0.1. I put a summary, description. And now that I have a release, it's a snapshot of my application. I can go to my production environment. In the deployment tab, I select the release, and I deploy it. That's it. My release is immediately deployed on my production environment for me and my users. I can confirm it by using the preview URL. I click on it. Codely asks for my credentials. And that's it. The application we modified earlier is now available as a Codely app in production. And did you notice? I did nothing but clicking. No setup, no configuration, no installation, nothing. Of course, you can also roll back to a previous application release in case of problem. You can organize your versioning across your 3 environments: development, staging, and production. And regarding deployment and maintenance, Codely.com offers a whole lot of other services that we can review with another application of mine here, which is my product team timesheet. If I open the development environment and if I review the metrics, you can see that I have access to metrics about CPU usage, memory usage. I can adjust the timescale just to see what's going on. I can see my disk usage, network in, network out. You know that this is really valuable, and to obtain this, you don't have to plug in anything, to set up anything. It's all integrated and available out of the box. You can have access also, of course, to your logs. Select the timescale. Your logs are displayed, and you can download them. The team tab shows the collaborators you have. Of course, here it's a real app. I had to blur the screen for personal data purpose. And the last thing, but perhaps one of the best features, here I noticed that my application, my Codely server, is not up to date. So with one click, I can update my 3 environments to the latest release. I really like that part. Okay, I know that's a lot. Codely.com does not only offer a development tool, but the whole platform around it. It's a platform with a lot of valuable services. Update your application, one click. Update the Codely server running your application, one click. Remotely monitor your app metrics and logs, the dashboards are done for you. Of course, our services covers backing up of your application code and data, as well as a user's directory and secured authentication. Codely.com is a full package. We purchase the infrastructure, we add the platform and the software, you add your code, and you're ready to sell it. With Codely.com, we also want to reach new customers and make them join our wonderful community. This is also why Codely.com applications are coded in CodelyScript, which I said so. It's a language both inspired by 4D and JavaScript. Okay, it's time for a wrap-up. And it's time to summarize both offerings in a few words. As you saw it, if you want to bring your 4D applications to web, Codely Studio for 4D will be fully compatible with it. You can continue to deliver desktop forms and run web forms in parallel. You will stick with the 4D language you know, and continue to host your 4D application by yourself. Now, if you are in for new projects, 100% web, ready for CodelyScript and cloud hosting, then Kotley.com delivers exactly what you need. Here, final word. Do not miss the masterclass session by Marie-Sophie, mostly, a little bit of me, but mostly Marie-Sophie. We'll show you how to run your 4D application in a web browser. And now, be careful.
Wow. What a great...
Mathieu, I think what you missed is question answer for Kotley Studio is tomorrow in the session.
It's prepared, it's in the script.
It's in the script?
Yeah.
Okay, so I missed that. Okay, so no question answers.
Don't miss. I have a question about the license model.
You asked me about the license.
Yes.
I like that.
I want to sell it.
So you have a sales guy on stage and he's asking the technical guy for licensing.
You're my boss.
Okay, no, the real reason is there's no product code to order it. And he hates things what you cannot order.
Okay, next slide, please.
So when you use your developer license, which is included in your partner program, silver or gold, you have all you need. So the developing license in your partner program allows you to start Kotley Studio, starting with 20 R2. And next question is, of course, deployment. What does your customer has to pay?
Yeah.
And it's simple. When we started for the server 30 years ago, we introduced the concurrent user model. So we don't care about how you use it. Many of you said you work for 20 or 30 years with 4D. So in the past, we didn't care if you use 4D desktop, 4D client, or 4D open. Remember, 4D open, it was another way to access 4D. So when we introduced Windows, and we said we don't care if you use Mac or Windows, it's just another desktop. When we introduce SQL Server and say we don't care if you use Excel through ODBC to access 4D server, it's just another user. It's still the same concurrent user model. And the same now with Kotley Studio. If you created a web application or a desktop application, we are simply sharing the same licensing. So you have your users have paid for the license, and in the office we use a desktop client, a Mac or Windows, and at home we use a browser on the road. We share the same license. So it's really easy. You can smoothly switch, and that's it. And that's why he hates the licensing, because nothing to sell.
No, I can sell the web server.
You don't need a web server. It's included in 4D server.
What was your question? Okay. But I'm pretty sure that we will sell more clients about this.
That is the idea behind, but psst.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So of course, hopefully your customers find new usages. We have more people to work, people at home, people in the office. You provide a better service for your customers. And this is a good reason for them to pay additional work for you. And of course, we also would like to have some more license sales.
Yeah. Okay, so thanks again to Mathieu. It was a great presentation. And this masterclass, I saw it again. I saw it in Atlanta. It was fantastic to see how to build an application with Kotley Studio. Great. So, and what is the result now? What is the result of all these cool tools in the web? The result is that 4D loves the web. And hopefully you too. And I know someone who loves the web. He's staying there on the door. It is Art. We have a masterclass about how to scale the web server.
We love.
The love. So please do not miss this masterclass. I think there's also a French version, not made by you. No? Okay. Yeah. Please visit this too.
Yeah.
Oh, next for you.
A big step from the web to email. Yeah.
It's the same.
In V20, we have a new set of features around the workflow of emails. It started before the internet commands in the 90s, many years ago. And for the internet commands were designed in the 90s for the way internet and email worked in that time. So finally, it was time for us to completely rewrite and redesign email communication. Our new transporter classes for POP3, IMAP, and SMTP are preemptive, fast, reliable, and secure. We have a way to go. So for the internet commands is depreciated now. Besides supporting with 3 big standards, in email communications, there are 2 proprietary protocols. Microsoft and Google both have their own protocols, and both are telling administrators that only their own protocols are safe, and using standards is insecure. You could name it now a marketing story, but in the business world, it is so much easier to say, sure, yes, we can support that, we can do that, as trying to argument why standards are a better way. So in V20, we added new commands to a component named FortiNetKit to allow you to manage your emails through Microsoft Graph API. Commands to send emails, receive emails, and manage mails, all using the Microsoft API for Microsoft 365. And as the authentication goes through Microsoft 365 as well, it fulfills all security rules defined by your customers. It shares the Microsoft 365 authentication. So if an end user is already logged in SharePoint or Teams or Outlook, no additional authentication is needed. It's a single sign-on process. And as the user is already authenticated, you can even use that to log in for the client, using Microsoft 365 authentication for your own application on both Mac and Windows. And same story now for Google. Google also has its own API named Gmail API. And starting with V20 R2, we can send emails through Gmail API. And with 20 R3, soon going better, we add the first set of commands to handle receiving and managing emails, and to be continued with R4.
Thank you, Thomas. Now let's start with a very important part of this keynote, with FortiWrite Pro. Let's talk about it. The powerful tool has been changed the way we create documents in our world. It offers us a number of benefits that makes it a game changer. Today, we will focus on 2 parts, the templating and the data-driven content. Thomas, start with the content.
Let's start with content. It's more a data context than a content. Context. In FortiV20 opens the world of order and object-oriented development to FortiWrite Pro documents. FortiWrite and FortiWrite Pro documents often contain formulas, returning data or calculations depending on the database. Thanks to context, associating the data with documents becomes really easy. You expose data such as a customer or customer invoices fitting to the current need in the context of an application. As developer, you expose data potentially needed by the template designer, such as first name, last name, invoice date, or all the invoice item list, and so on. No need to use complicated formulas in the document any longer. No need for the document designer to know anything about your structure, about how you organize your data. It's a perfect way to create templates and personalize documents with FortiWrite Pro.
Thank you. Yes. The data content is one part. Now starts with the templating of document. Templating in FortiWrite Pro simplifies the document creation process, allowing us, all our users, to focus on the content rather than the formatting and increasing the productivity. Templating together with the data context and together with tables and themes helps the developers, consultants and end users, because now you can create the documents and reports in FortiWrite Pro based on your data. So let's have a look at this example. You remember the car rental thing? It is the company of Mathieu. He's the owner of the car rental, so if you need a car to come back to the airport, ask him. And he hired me to create reports for him, or documents. So I create this great example And my first job is I have to create a profession document to show him the car, what is the stock of the cars we have. Hopefully I make it right. So what I'm using is the great new table wizard we have in R2. Yeah, in 2. Yeah, 3. 3?
I completely lost it.
Yeah,
Atlanta
yeah.
and Europe.
Too many. So with this wizard, the user and I can create easily the tables, as you can see here. He can select the templates. You can select tables. You can select themes if you need it. You can select also different themes, and you can create them before, or a developer can do this. You select the columns and the fields that you would like to have in your table, and you can also work with them. Okay, another order. And then you're working with a button carryover row. You fill it with the formulas you already prepared, also by your developer, or you can easily change them if you know it later in your document. In the wizard you say, yeah, I want to have a carryover row. That means this is the row that at the end of the page gives you the summary of all the items in this first page. And then you have a great preview that shows you this document already with the data, with the images, with, I told you before, with the automatically row high in a table. That means when there is more content inside, you have a bigger row, bigger line, higher line, sorry. And then when I say insert, I put this into my document as a real table, and you see the different features, like the button carryover row, and the grouping by different values. In this case, we have the brand, which is the flat, and we have the summary of all the cars of the brand flat. Is it right, boss?
Not listening.
Boss, is it right? Yeah, is it the value? Yeah. He fallen asleep after a great Kotlin presentation. So, and this is the result. And we have one step more, because when we would like to change this table, it is a real table. We can move it, we can play with the columns, and we can also jump into back into the code, as I said before. So we can go back, come on, jump into the code, and we say, okay, we would like to do the coding a little bit easier. You can see the code right now. I can change also here the alignment to the right-hand side. It is more visible in Europe to have it on this side. And when you say, okay, there are too many code inside in my table, I want to switch. I just put the F button, so I just hit a symbol, and it's more user-friendly. And I make a reload of my document, and as you see, there's a switch in the real table. So this works pretty good for me, and I'm not a developer, but I can create great documents with 40Write Pro. As you can see, 40Write Pro is a great and a strong tool, and you have much more possibilities right now than before with 40Write or with the command form that we create in the past.
Yeah, and as you might have seen, we made the switch from 40Write Pro to be a text document thing, to write letters, to become a reporting engine. And as a developer, you define the data the designer will receive. So he can only access the data I published. You can publish formulas the designer can use, and the result of reports. And of course, when the report is done, you need to do something with it. Of course, you can print it. With all the printing control we added to 4D in the last versions, so you can control the paper tray, the paper feed, if it should be duplex and all that stuff. You have full control about that. But you can also save as a PDF. Mind, I said save and not print as a PDF. So this is not the same as if you use print selection or print form and go through the printer engine to create PDF. If you go to the operating system, you are single-threaded. You are in a cooperative process. You cannot scale. Going through the printer engine makes it impossible to make mass mailings or mass printing. When you use 4D Pro to create PDF, it is directly writing a file on disk without using any operating system feature, meaning it is fully preemptive. New in 4D R3, we have PDF-A. PDF-A is an archive format needed for electronic invoicing. And this is the next step for 4D Pro to fully support electronic invoicing. As Factor X used or needed in France soon. So it will be fully supported because we can directly write it. Another feature which looks maybe strange, SVG, which is a picture format, but it's a vector picture format. So with 4D Pro, you can store every single page as an SVG file. Why is that interesting? Because you can give to your end user a way to design their own business letter using 4D Pro. And when the business letter is designed, you store it as SVG and use it as a background for your real report, by example, for your invoice. Similar as a watermark. And this makes it really easy for end users like Stefan to create nice documents, because they don't need to handle the background and the document at the same time. Finally, we can read and write Word documents. Don't need to say much about that. We can store it as HTML, and we can store it as MIME, which you need when you send it as an email. So much about the formats. And finally, I also want to announce once, we have a masterclass made by Achim talking about how to use 4D Pro as for smart templating. Achim makes the English session, and Vanessa and Fabrice the French one.
Oh.
Yeah, I learned my stuff.
When?
Tomorrow.
Okay, 4D Pro, perfect for documents. We heard about this. But what about analytics and reports? As a salesperson, I get often asked about the advantages of 4D over the other platforms. We all maybe know. And one part of my answer is always 4D Pro. Because 4D Pro gives developers and end users fantastic reporting capabilities. With V20, we're delivering some pretty cool new features. Let's start with the data content. Again, we have the same on this side. One of the advantages of 4D Pro is that you can work with your data directly from a database without exporting or importing to Excel. You can do it, but you don't need it. You can use the data context and it works with your data again. As you can see in this example, we are using the data, the fields, and, maybe you have seen it, also relations. It's very important with our database. Then we use the data to create cool reports. As you can see here, we just use the data and create a very good-looking table. Not very colorful, but cool. And we create the Excel's master discipline, the pivot tables, to handle amount huge of data. It's a lot of data. I know this. I have to work often with this tool. So we create here, based on our data, with the fields, we create the table. We can play with the table again. We can change also the format if needed, especially here with the currency. It's all no problem with 4D Pro. Then we have the possibility also to work with some filter, some slices. We call it here slices, where we can say, okay, give me a slicer like here in this example, the state, and I, as a user, can collect the different data I need. In this case, I would like only have Maine, New York, Pennsylvania. I don't like Connecticut and Delaware. And based on these, I get the real data, the right data back from 4D Pro. And I can also create fantastic charts based on my data. This is also important, I think, for all of us to create reports. And also these data are, again, based on my data. The charts are based on my data. Last but not least, we have template feature that does not require you to be a designer. So you don't have to know everything in 40 Pro, you just can use this. This groundbreaking feature allows you to combine the power of 4D with the power of a spreadsheet tool. We open up a world of possibility for data analysis and manipulation. As you can see here, if you like the green or the blue one, no problem, just use these templates. Whether you need to display complex financial data, sales trends, or project timelines, 4D offers you a comprehensive set of chart types and customization options to suit your needs. Just with a few clicks, you create fantastic reports based on your data. And Thomas?
Yeah, and same story again. When your report is finished, you can print it.
Really?
You can store it as PDF. Most important for me, you can store it as Excel file. So it sounds strange, but for me, reporting in companies is more important to exchange Excel files than paper or PDF these days. So often your end users need to create PDFs, need to create Excel, send to other departments. So now with 40 Pro, you can very easily create them, automatically fill them, or give your end user a way using templates to automatically produce them. Another interesting thing is we cannot only write Excel, we can also read. So in many companies, reporting means that every department is sending a file to the next department, and everybody needs every month to enter some values. So by automatically entering, you open the received Excel file, you enter some values automatically for your customers, you save it as Excel and forward to the next department, you greatly enhance the workflow of your customers, saving them every month time. Finally, of course, we can do SVG and CSV and SVG documents as well. And another masterclass from
it's
Achim.
the same.
Okay, it's the same, but you get 2 for 1. In the masterclass, he's also showing how to use 40 Pro to make smart templating. And the same, of course, in French, and the story goes on.
We're coming close to the end.
Yeah, last week we published V20 R2 as a final, and as you can expect, this week we will start with V20 R3 as a beta version, to continue in the following quarters to have an R release every quarter, with the target to have V21 in summer 2025.
For the next summit?
It would be a good opportunity for the next summit to meet again.
Okay, Thomas, I think this is the end of our keynote. I think we have presented a lot of fantastic features. Or did we? Thank you. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, all of you, to be here. And yeah, once again, these are the master classes. These are the master classes. Okay. Here are only the English speakers, but again, you will get all these master classes also in French. Yeah.
Yeah. I received in the last weeks, months, some questions. I try to answer as good as possible, but we could use that opportunity to invite the guy on stage which really knows the stuff and really is the master behind and is really the master expert Stefan is talking about all the time. So I would like to invite you to welcome Laurent Ribadier on stage, founder and president of the company. So a question we got, I think, years now is starting with Orda. What is Orda? How you to compare it with ORM? Why other companies are doing ORM? Is ORM better? Is Orda better? What is the story?
Yeah. Sorry. First, ORMs usually have a very bad reputation. You know, they're so object relational management on top of a database. Usually, they go through a lot of layers of translation, sometimes compilation. You need to translate code from your main language to SQL internally or more, and it's usually very slow and not very efficient. With 4D, we put the abstraction layer, the full ORM, built into the database, into the engine, actually. So everything you do, like when you use Orda, when you do your query, are object related now, and they are at full speed because they're really built in the engine. So the full abstraction layer is already built in. And to answer your second part about how it works with Codely, how it's integrated.
He knows my questions up front.
Go on, ask your question. No. Oh, what a surprise.
So, and how is working with Kotlin Studio?
I can.
Okay, a new question.
So yeah, basically, in 4D you can access Orda either through 4D language, which is built in inside the process running in the language, or you can also access Orda through REST requests, and which is what is needed for Kotlin Studio, which is external of the 4D process. It's not running in the same application. It's usually in a browser to actually access the data. So through REST, you send also Orda request, and Kotlin is built in. Kotlin Studio is really made to manage those REST requests, manage the data, get the data as data sources, as you've seen in the demo.
Okay, so Orda is an important technology for Kotlin Studio, and any others what we developed or we used from other vendors?
Yeah, so we decided first not to reinvent the wheel. So really, we used existing technology to fit to the modern technologies and modern browsers. So we use React as a foundation for most of our code in the Kotlin Studio and the engine, the runtime that renders the pages, the final pages. On top of React, we use a library called Craft, which is a kind of tool to mix different components together. And we also, so that's for the external technology. Of course, as external technology, we also heavily rely on CSS, modern CSS, and modern HTML, which is quite important. But that's why you can really make your application look the way you want. And on top of that, not on top, but beside that, we also develop our own technologies. So we developed a technology to access the data and make the data seem integrated into your page, which is the full set of data sources and the full abstraction layer based on that, which is also based on Orda server side. So you can, from your browser, call a function which is running on the server, or get some data which relies on the server, and you cache it and get it locally as if it was part of your browser data. So all those technology we developed to make the studio a full application.
So you mentioned React, and we saw Matthew demonstrating several widgets built in React. And if I don't like them, if I want to add my own stuff?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Basically, we will provide a lot of widgets, components. They're called components in React. So a lot of components, like you've seen, the data table, the text input. But of course, a lot will be missing. The idea by using React is that you have the full opportunity, or a web developer has the opportunity to build its own component and integrate them inside the studio and inside the final rendered page. So in the technology, there are two main parts. You have the studio itself, where there's a full environment, and we will provide API for those components to behave nicely inside the studio, to react to property changes and so on. And there is another environment, which is the rendering time, where actually you run your application, and the component also should behave nicely by accessing data from the data sources, answering events, and so on. So you will have a full set of API to develop your own component, a bit like you could write external tools to 4D inside your form with external areas and so on. It will be the same thing with web component that way.
So I think there's just one last step missing, pattern in the picture. Many developers like that when we move from binary mode to project mode, that forms are now text files on disk, which are JSON files where you can easily look inside, manipulate them, stuff like that. You mentioned React is rendering the stuff, Craft is keeping everything together. But what is the studio really producing on disk? HTML or?
Yeah. So for those of you who already tried, you've seen that web forms are actually not HTML directly. They are JSON. Like a 4D form is now a JSON file which contains the description of all the components, all the different parts. So a web form is also a JSON file which contains the description of what's inside. The idea that when you render your page, when you execute your application, we have a small library, the renderer that runs in the browser that loads the page in JSON and transforms it into HTML React component. So that way, in the future, if you have newer type of HTML, for example, or even different devices, we can still render your page without rewriting the page. Because so we put the same kind of abstraction layer with the web form like we did with the database itself with Orda. Instead of writing directly HTML, you write a description of what the form will look like, and it is rendered into HTML, but it could be rendered into HTML4 if one day HTML4 exists or something like this. So it's much better for the future, for the progression.
Thanks a lot. That was exactly what I would have said, but you choose better words. So thanks for your help, and I think now it's time for Eric to continue with a business keynote. This was the end of the technical keynote.
Okay, thank you very much, Thomas. Thank you all the team who have prepared, this technical keynote. So as you can see, we're investing massively in our 4D platform, to improve existing features, create new ones, modernize the language, reinforce security and compatibility, while keeping stability as a key metric, from the current version to the next version. And at the same time, we're also building a complete hybrid low-code platform in the cloud with existing 4D stacks. The database, the server, Codely Studio, Orda, the language, to position 4D in the highly promising low-code market. So we'll talk later about our plans for the coming years. But let me first give you some inputs about our numbers since 2020, as we had to meet in Paris and Chicago before the pandemic hit. Okay, so 2021 was a very good year, with revenue up 7.2% versus 2020. And 2022 was an exceptional year in the 4D history, with an increase of 9.7% to reach 21.4 million euros, or $23 million for the American partners who have joined us for this summit. Okay. Our expenses dedicated to the R&D department are now accounting for 35% of our global income. So it shows that our business and development decisions are being rewarded. And of course, this should not have been possible without the continuing support of our thousands of developers, and obviously you are among them. Okay, so now let me give you some more details about our revenue in 2022. So on the left, on the left, this is a sales breakdown by geography. So Yeah, this is a sales breakdown by geography. So roughly our revenue is divided in 4 parts, almost equal. USA, France, export, and then the aggregation of our 3 subsidiaries, Germany, Australia, and Japan. And USA is now our first market with 31%, followed by France. And on the left side, this is a breakdown by type of revenue. So our mainstream revenue comes from software publishers with 38%. And then at 28%, maintenance is our second largest source of recurring revenue. And in third, we have professional services now with 18%. And licenses, for all the new customers, represents 11% of our global income. So our global sales presence and the diversity of applications deployed by our partners give us a strong limitation, to both geographic and sector risk. Adding to this recurring revenue of 72% and a strong professional services team to support our partners, I would say that 4D has never been stronger than it is today. Okay, here just the application deployed by sector. It's coming here. And we are present in many different industries, thanks to all of you. And you can see that healthcare is our strongest segment. And the last 2 years has been really great, for most of our software publishers, and especially those in the healthcare industry. We contributed, their skills and their knowledge to help fight the global pandemic. So actually, this slide, speaks really to the diversity of 4D in many different industries, whether vertical or a customized app market. So now coming back to 2022, there are several reasons why this year was pretty great. Globally, we achieved our highest sales ever recorded by 4D. Several subsidiaries, including the USA, recorded their best sales figures ever with record license sales. Then the professional services business has grown significantly. And we are really proud, actually, to have delivered more than 130 projects worldwide, and just in 2022. Then most of our software publishers and partners exceeded their sales target. Then we have on-demand training, that we launched in 2021, which has been really successful, and it's still the case now. And it really allows, our developers to be trained at their own pace. And we create regularly new topics. So if you go to the website of 4D, on the on-demand training section, then you will find, the latest version available that you can download. And then we are seeing a solid increase, in attendance in our webinars. And that's great. For the product and the marketing team, we put a good deal of efforts into them. We are also proud, actually, that modernizing 4D has helped many partners to recruit new developers to join the 4D community. And internally, last year, we have hired 20 people in various departments, especially, of course, engineering in 4D, but also professional services, where we have strengthened our professional services team to serve you even better. So to summarize, actually last year was great in many respects, and 2023 is really well on track. So now I would like to introduce Will Taylor, our in charge of the strategic customers in the United States, to present some activities about professional services, right?
All right, thank you, Eric.
Stage is on you.
Thank you. Wow, what a great year we had for professional services. We work with over 90 customers worldwide. We did over 130 projects, and we did the math. That's over 1,000 hours that we spent on your projects for professional services. Now, you may ask yourself, how do we do this? How do we do that much work? Well, we've invested. We're constantly hiring in the professional services team. In Morocco, I work with the teams that I work with all the time. We have a link with a prestigious engineering school there. And dozens of students every year do their final internships. And then we train them in 4D, which complements the skills that they learned in school. And then we hire from the team based on the project needs from you guys, the developer community. Now, you may ask yourself, where do these projects come from? Well, they come from you, the developer community. We love to work with you because you know the business, you know the customers, you know those end users, and we just help you on the 4D side. And we deliver the projects to ensure that your clients keep on loving your applications. And the great part with all of those extra people is that we have more time to work with you on your mission-critical applications. In 2021, we started what we call the Primary Care Physician Program, or the PCP program. And that's pretty much what you do with your doctor when you have an issue. You get a checkup, or you do a checkup, or where you do a complete rundown of your entire health. And then you do regular checkups with your doctor, regular checkups with you, and then you can follow what's going on. Well, that's exactly what we do. We start with the DCA, and then we do regular checkups with the developer team in order to be able to understand and to be able to better help the developer team develop with 4D. So, if you have a mission-critical application and you'd like to work with us in that way, please feel free to talk to me. I'd love to talk to you more. There are a few customers right there that we are currently working with in this program, Sweetwater and Orchard. So we've also been working on getting more projects started. Eric said we grew the commercial team, and we hired both sales and project managers whose sole focus is professional services. And we've made a large step in marketing the professional services to the 4D community at large. So now, if you have a project in mind, or your end user has a project in mind, and you don't know where to start, you can call us, and we can flesh out your entire project with not only a 4D expert, but someone that knows the technology that you need to work with. And trust me, if you need any technology, I'm sure we can find someone in the team. We're pretty big now. And all of this work has drastically reduced the time to market for these professional services projects. And then it's also helped us to assure that you get what you need, when you need it, and at a fair price. So thanks to the professional services, we're helping you grow your applications along with the growing businesses that they support. And we do this in a variety of ways. We do this by creating new 4D modules for you in your applications, doing new integrations with other systems, for example, QuickBooks and things like that, extending your application to the web or mobile, and by supporting you and your team's need to move to the Amazon Web Services environment. Now, this is really important because we feel that the larger your 4D applications are, the more work there is for the developer community at large, and the better positioned 4D is for the future. Now, since the last summit, there have been two specific services that have been in high demand. The first one is moving 4D applications to AWS, or just the cloud, or mirroring a disaster recovery. During the pandemic, everyone wanted to move to the cloud, right? Now, this may sound easy, but some developers either didn't want to do it by themselves, or they just wanted support from cloud experts to help them in the journey. And we were there to support them in their journey to move to the AWS environment. And it helped to ensure that their end users could use their applications where they needed to safely. Now, the other major demand was mirroring and disaster recovery. And this was specifically demanded by your end users. And this is for a variety of reasons. Failover and redundancy, the ability to have a reporting server to offload the production server, and to not have any downtime during major database operations like backups and things like that. Now, you're a developer, so you know 4D offers you the complete command set to design a robust mirroring and disaster recovery system on your own, right? But some developers either didn't have the time or the desire to do this on their own. And this is where we come in, the professional services team. We have a robust mirroring and disaster recovery solution that's ready to use. We work with you to understand your needs for mirroring and disaster recovery, and then we take that and then we implement the component in your environment in order to ensure it fits those needs. And this has been great because your customers and end users now have really the peace of mind knowing that this mirroring disaster recovery solution was developed by 4D, and it provides them the confidence that if something does arrive and something does happen, you're in great hands. So now if you or any of your end users would like any of the services I've mentioned before, you can feel free to come talk to me or your favorite team member who's present. And we'd love to get you started on your professional services journey. Thank you very much. Back to you, Eric.
Hey, good one. Okay, thank you very much, Will. So it's almost the end of the keynote, so just be patient, a couple of minutes. Okay, so now we'd like to give you some inputs about our investment plan for the coming years. Our top priority is to continue investing massively in our platform 4D. That's really important for us, you know. And we will spend the same amount of money and engineers in this platform, you know, to support your business. And actually, this is what we are doing for so many years now, and for sure we will continue that way. Then we will still strengthen the professional services team to support your growth and help you to enhance your applications when you feel that it's required to do it. And that's why we are now able to provide project managers, but also development resources, not only globally, but also locally. And as Will said, so feel free to talk with us, you know, during all the summit, and we will give you our feedback and our experience about that. Okay, so, and Codely is also a priority. So as you have seen, so Codely Studio is now included in your set of development licenses, and it will evolve with each new feature release version. And it's part of the core offering of 4D. So as we have always done, you know, with all the core parts of 4D, we will support Codely Studio for years to come. And then we have Codely.com, you know, the SaaS platform, so which is scheduled for a commercial launch in Q1 2024. And I know that some of you have already subscribed a free account to perform tests on this platform, and we are really grateful for that, and we are waiting your feedback as the team is continuing to improve, you know, the solution. So it will be really interesting for us. So to be clear, so our ambition is to differentiate ourselves in the low-code market by offering professional developers a platform with no limitations, you know, allowing developers to create web app very, very quickly with a high level of productivity, but without restriction, as we do with 4D. And that's why we call it hybrid low-code platform. you can always access to the code and enhance, at both the UI and the business logic layers. Here, it's just a quick overview of the business expected in the low-code market. So, yeah. Most analysts agree that low-code development platform is exploding and will continue to grow massively in the coming years. So it is extremely promising, given the systematic digitalization of companies, but most important, the growing shortage of developers worldwide. So 4D was one of the first rapid application development in the market and one of the forerunners of the low-code platform. We have great assets and almost 40 years of experience to draw on in this market. And in addition of that, it will give 4D a high profile among the development tools players. Okay, so to summarize, once Codely.com will be released, so 4D will offer two complementary products, 4D and Codely.com. As a 4D partner, you can always use Codely Studio with your existing application. But if you want to create a completely new web app, then you will have the choice of continuing with 4D or using Codely.com as your new alternative web app factory. And again, 4D and Codely.com are sharing the same foundations, and they will be mutually enriched. Okay, so next year is a really important milestone for 4D. So we will be celebrating our 40 years anniversary in the development tools market. So. So really, I would like to thank you very much, on behalf of all the 4D teams, for the trust that you have placed on us for so many years now. It's just something just amazing. So, it's just grateful, and all the teams at 4D are, really proud of that, and you are clearly our greatest motivation. Why? Because when we see, all the sometimes crazy applications that you are developing with our 4D platform, so all the team of 4D are really proud of that. So I would like to thank you very much for that. So it's great. Thank you. And 2024 is also the World Tour year. So everybody knows the World Tour now. So, and we will get the opportunity to meet you in one of the 40 cities worldwide, where we will be presenting, our new products, new features, new features, and of course, the live training session that we have. So, before to leave the stage, so I would like to thank a big thank you to all the staff of 4D. We have, prepared this summit, so thank you guys. It's an amazing summit, so thank you very much.